How's it going, you guys? It's Scott with Everyday Shed. Now, your cheapest option and a very tempting option when it comes to storage sheds is going to be a classic metal storage shed like the one behind me. Now, this is made by Arrow, which is kind of the top manufacturer in the space, and it's a classic size, 8 foot wide and 6 foot deep. But the question is this the right option for you? I know it's the cheapest, but there are a few things you need to consider. So let's go ahead and go through the assembly so you know how long is it actually going to take for you to assemble this, and a few things you need to consider so you make the right decision for your storage shed needs. Let's jump into it. Now, I got this shed from Arrow from Home Depot for about $400. You can find some on Amazon a little cheaper. I'll put a link below the video for your reference. But overall, these are not highly rated. And when you start to open up and do your assembly, you'll quickly find out what you're getting yourself into, because there are a billion of little fasteners, both screws and small bolts, that hold this thing together. So you can see all these up here. You both have your bolts and your screws, and you're gonna put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these to tie everything together. Now, the kit comes in a reasonably sized box and pretty much fit in any vehicle, but it is over 150 pounds, so you might need some help loading and unloading. Having a table here for the sum assemblies is nice, and let me know down in the comments, how long do you actually think it's going to take me to assemble this? I will roll up the time and compare it to your other options so you can make a smart decision, along with some direction on how to design a floor for this, just in case you don't have a concrete pad like this. You do need to make a floor. That is a common mistake that some homeowners make. But at this stage, you see it's still not sturdy at all. So be careful stopping your project, especially if there's some wind. You might come out the next day and see this thing folded up like a tin can. Now, I'll put my wall panels on here, and you're going to be going in and out. Here are a few of the spots where it's kind of a pain in the butt, and you really need a second set of hands, almost as a necessity to put this thing together. And it's not that anything is heavy, it's more that these kits are really focused on affordability, and being the most affordable option seems to be nothing to do with ease of assembly. You have things like C-channels here on the inside of your shed that really gives more structure to your outside walls. Well, you have to have this whole thing held in place, and then on the outside you need to match up holes on all these little screws and start to secure those. So as a one-person operation, it is a juggling act trying to do this. You're taping this thing up, trying to line it up. And this is an example where you just really need 2 people to even do this part of the project. So we'll continue plowing ahead, and now we'll get into the roof structure. And once we put more and more of these members together, it will start firming up a bit. It's never going to be super stable, but at least it'll start getting a little more structure where if you had some wind, it would hold up. Now, when we put our panels on the top, the challenge is you're going to start to lose access. You've got to put screws all the way along the top, in the middle, and then down on the eaves as well. So it's a little hard to get access to all those without bending up your panels. Now we're working on the doors, and again, you'll be sub-assembling most of those, taking your time to make sure you don't do like most do and get your doors where they bind up and they won't open. For me, overall, it worked out pretty good. And actually these doors slide open and close nice and smoothly, at least brand new at this stage. So the complete build process took me 7.5 hours, one-man operation, and it can be worse than that. Really, even as 2 people, I would schedule the entire day. And how does that compare side by side with your other options? Well, that's why we put together this buyer's guide. You're going to be able to compare your main factors side by side with your DIY options of metal, plastic, and wood. And we really focus on this here on Everyday Shed. Big fans of DIY wood builds, but even a pre-build if you just want it dropped off. Now, we said 7.5 hours, even though you'll see here 10.5 hours. That's because it was 7.5 for the structure. And don't forget, you need some type of foundation or floor. So I baked in 3 hours to build a wood floor. Now, also in this guide is a complete materials list. If you want to build your floor, this is for a 7x7. We have 7x7, 8x6 for this metal one, and an 8x8 for your reference. What are all your dimensions on where you need to put the floor joists, where to cut your sheets of plywood or OSB, and also where to position your pavers to give you some foundation and keep your wood off the ground. So if you want your free copy of the buyer's guide, you'll see a link below the video in the description, or if you're on your TV, you can just scan this QR code, and then that will bring up the link so we can email that over to you. Now, my own personal opinion when it comes to metal sheds, from a pro standpoint, it's the cost. That's really the only reason I would buy one of these, is if cost is my number one and I just really have to stick to my budget. Okay, then I understand that the metal shed is your best option, but don't forget, you need some type of floor or concrete pad underneath that. Do not just set it on the ground or you're gonna run into trouble. It's gonna start rusting. It's not gonna be level. It's gonna be hard to line everything up. Trust me, you don't wanna go down that path. And also make a plan for securing your metal shed. Do not just set it down. It does not have a floor. So you only have about 150 pounds to hold up versus the wind. And that is something we will be testing coming up with our airboat that can push wind at 110 miles per hour to see what does it do to metal sheds and what does it do to plastic sheds. But give us your feedback down in the comments. And if you guys want to see what is the DIY wood option that would be very similar to the size, we have a classic 8x8 build. We'll walk you through the complete process, and we even have build plans and 3D models that can help you out with your own project. So thanks for joining me on this video, and we'll catch you on that next one. Take care.